conic sections is that you can identify the shape by just looking at the equation there. You can memorize all this stuff in the box, or if you know what the general forms of the equations look like, you really don't have to memorize this piece here. If you look at an equation and you only see an x squared or a y squared, not both, it's got to be a parabola. So that first example is going to be a parabola. And it'll be one that'll open either to the left or to the right because it's a y that's squared. And we'd have to put it in standard form to decide which direction it would open there. If you think about something like letter B, you have a 4x squared plus a 4y squared. So if it's a plus in between, it either has to be a circle or it has to be an ellipse. And think about it. If these coefficients are the same, it means that you're going to go left and right and up and down the same value. It's going to make it a circle. So if you think of that same concept there for letter D, both the x squared and the y squared are both positive. They're both pluses, but their coefficients are different. So you're going to go left and right one value, up and down a different value, so it's going to be sort of stretched out there, so it's an ellipse. And then finally, the last shape. X squared's positive, y squared's negative. They have opposite signs. Is going to make that a hyperbola. So knowing that basic setup for their equations, you really don't have to memorize all of this stuff that's up here in the box. You can, but knowing those equations there, you'll know what the shape is. So let's look at this. X squared and y squared are both positive, have the same coefficient. Then you have, that's what we just talked about right here, is a circle. X squared and y squared are both positive, but they have different coefficients, so it's going to be stretched either left and right or up and down. That's an ellipse. X squared and y squared have different signs, so one's positive, one's negative. That would be hyperbola. Or one variable squared, the other one's not, so just x squared or just y squared would give you a parabola. So basically the same thing that I just said there. So we can take that then and just review completing the square on each of these by putting the equations in standard form. So general form to standard form. So this kind of walks you through, and I'll walk you through these examples here. So the first thing, if I'm looking at this is when they're telling us it's a circle. To complete the square, we're going to move the constant term to the other side. And then I would say gather the terms together by variable, or group the terms together by variable. So we'll put the x squared and the 2x together. Put the y squared and the 4y together, and here's that constant on the other side. Leave space for the linear term, that's what we just did. Right, so if you take half your middle term's coefficient, 1, let me follow the directions here. If the coefficient is the squared variable isn't 1, then divide through the whole equation through by that value. It is. Now we're going to complete the square for both the x and y terms by taking 1/2 the linear coefficient and squaring it. So 1/2 of 2 would be 1. 1 squared is 1. Since I added 1 to the left, I have to add 1 to the right. Then we'll do the same for the y term. Half of 4 is 2. 2 squared is 4. Since I added it to the left, I'll add it to the right. And then you can write this in factored form. Finish filling in the blanks here. Now, like the left side, factor the left side using perfect square trinomials. So we have over here, we get 17 for that side. And simplify the right side. Your equation should be in standard form. And it is. So we can find the center, which would be at -1, +2. The radius would be square root of 17, which is just a little bit bigger than 4. I started writing square root of 16 because that's what it's closest to. So you could do this second one here. Same way for practice. You can pause the video and do it yourself and then come back to it and check your answer. So x squared minus 6x, y squared minus, plus 4y. And put the 3 on the other side. Half of 6 is 3, 3 squared is 9, so add that to both the left and the right side. Half of 4 is 2, 2 squared is 4. Add it 4 to the left, we'll add 4 to the right. And factor. On the right-hand side, combine your like terms there. We're going to have, what, 10? And then my center would be at 3, negative 2. And I'd have a radius of square root of 10, which is just a little bit bigger than 3. All right, the next one. This one they say is a parabola. So let's fill in the blanks first and try and do this as we go along here. Determine which variable is squared. So in our example here, it would be y that's squared. Move the constant and the linear variable to the other side. So we'll leave x squared and 2y on the left side. I'll put the 3x and the 5 on the right-hand side. They become opposite. If the coefficient squared of the squared variable isn't 1, divide through by that value. It is a 1. Leave space for a third value on the left-hand side. And we have space over here. Okay. And then we're going to complete the square. So half of 2 is 1. 1 squared is 1. I added 1 to the left. We'll add 1 to the right. So we completed the square. Add that value to both sides. We just did that. Factor the left-hand side. So y minus 1 quantity squared. And 3x minus 4. And then we'll rewrite in standard form. We're going to solve for the linear term.